Alex Hermosi has acquisition.com. He's not in the merger and acquisition coaching game. People think he is for some reason. He actually does this himself. He does consulting for equity. He does partnering for equity. And one more thing, if you wake up in the morning like, wow, I'm going to go solve this problem with AI. First of all, good luck. You'll be out of business in a couple of years. Only 1 in a million is going to work. Stop talking about what you do or your title. Instead, reposition what you do as the problems you solve. Give you a story. Pace Morby, #1 real estate coach that I'm very aware of. He's been on stage with me several times. We've hosted events together, and I taught him consulting for equity. I would be doing more research on what are the skill sets that are going to be in massive demand from humans over the next 10 years in this age of AI, and I would be out there building redundancy in my own skill sets and learning the things that are going to be in high demand. You want me to teach you how I train people to give me equity?
Yeah, absolutely. Tactical would be amazing.
It's easy. You ready?
We have one of my favorite guests here, special guest, the CEO of Dealmaker Wealth Society. He owns 23 equity positions in companies. He's a genius marketer. I'm listening to him on multiple training calls. I'm getting tons of insight from him. And I'm really excited to introduce our guest, Christopher Moore. Thank you for coming on.
Man, it's an honor. Glad to be here.
Awesome. I wanted to tell our audience about your skill set, how you potentially kind of like tell about your story and how you got into M&A, started getting these equity positions and leveraging your skill set to acquire equity in general in companies. So could you just let us know a little bit about your story and how you kind of got into this?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm almost 40 in 2 months, but I've done a lot. I've been in a lot of different industries, a lot of different positions, jobs. I've owned 10 plus companies at any given time for the last decade. So not new to this, but I was not always in the mergers and acquisitions side of it. We were doing deals before we even knew what doing deals is, right? We didn't even know what it was called. We were just doing what we do until 2018. 2018, I went to a conference. It was called MFA, Marketing Funnel Automation. And right there on stage was Carl Allen, the #1 business acquisition coach in the world. He was there on stage talking about buying businesses. I didn't give it much attention. I'm really focused on what I was doing. I was with an agency that I was part owner of at the time. And that's where we met Carl. So we were in a mastermind together. We both were in the mastermind that we joined from that event. And for 3 years there, we knew each other. And then I had a chance to pivot away from the agency that I was a part of and an owner in because of a life-changing injury. I really needed to step back for 6 months, not work at all, take some time off and heal. And when I came back, I ended up joining Carl Allen and being his partner. He gave me half of his company to come in as a consulting for equity, or what we call partner for equity opportunity for where I can come in and be his partner and get equity in the business. And I 17x the company with him within 2 years. That company is Dealmaker Wealth Society, and we're the largest acquisition coaching company on the planet. So I kind of got a crash course from the GOAT himself. I've already been doing deals, getting equity positions. I already had literally 10 plus companies at that moment already that I had equity in, either starting or people give me equity in their companies to come and help them grow it. But then I got to be with the GOAT. So from there, we've acquired 14 companies together. We're a part of 2 roll-ups together. We have equity in a lot of companies together. And then we have a lot of equity in own businesses separately as well. So, but that's how I got into it. I've always been a marketer by trade, a salesperson by trade, a teacher by trade. I've been in the real estate game, the real estate investing game, and then getting into business acquisitions was such a natural next step for me. And then when you become business partners and essentially the CEO of the largest coaching company on the planet that teaches nothing but this. So 4 years later, I'm up to speed and we have 51,000 students and counting. And it's just, it's been a beautiful journey.
Yeah, and it's incredible journey there and huge success. And I really appreciate having you on.
Sure.
For these types of this portfolio that you have, what types of companies typically are they?
Companies that I am very interested in. And I want to go over a methodology and a concept before I tell you. To me, and what I teach a lot of my students, especially in the consulting for equity side or the acquisition side, is you really have the ability to define success differently per deal, right? I have companies that are community builders, that are tax shelters, but they bring a lot of joy to myself, my family, and my community. I'll give you an example. Carl and I and my other partner, Jared, we own a bowling alley, right? The bowling alley has 20 lanes. It's in a podunk town, Alabama, where I live. It doesn't make any money, but defining success for that business is it is a tax shelter for me, which I need one, thankfully. Number two, my girls are state champions. I'm going tonight to Indiana for another college recruiting visit for my daughter. So that business serves me in a different way. Before we started recording, I told you about a Ninja Warrior gym I used to own. I started it in 2016. I was on the TV show twice, and I sold that business to another family. Right. So there's businesses like that. Of course, I have a couple different things like that in the works. Those are local type things, but most of my businesses are not. They're professional services. They're really M&A adjacent businesses, things where we're serving the same type of customer avatar as someone who's buying companies or selling companies. We also have been big in the real estate space. I've exited out of some stuff that we did in the real estate space. I'm a marketer by trade. I own a marketing agency. I have equity in several deals that I've helped consult on and where I'm on the board of advisors. And a couple other things I want you to think about as well. And I know we're getting a little further here, but when you have a portfolio and you're a portfolio investor, you get to choose what you do. There's businesses that I'm in daily. Like I'm the CEO of Dealmaker Wealth Society. I have Scalable Intent, my marketing agency. Pocket Marketer, my new software, is launching Monday for paid beta. I'm very active in those things because I choose to be. And then I have a lot of very passive positions where some of them are later money, where they're going to go to an exit at some point. I'm helping influence that process to make money later. I have some where I get paid retainer fees and I do more consulting very consistently to help grow the business. And then others I'm completely passive on, but still get paid from. So hope that gives you a little bit more of a glimpse in the portfolio investments I have, but they're all different.
Yeah, I love that. I think this is a growing space ultimately, and it's growing rapidly. And one thing I think a lot of business buyers don't fully understand is that you can get equity in companies by leveraging your current skill set, which is really what you talk about a lot, plus acquiring companies. Is there a way that you could, there you go.
I literally wrote the book on it. We sold 4,000 copies since May, the Partner for Equity Playbook, and it's exactly what you just said. But go ahead, finish your question.
No, I was just going to say, and we'll put that book in the video description.
Sure.
What's the best way that somebody that has a skill set like this that can grow a company could come into a business and potentially leverage their skill set tactically, or how can they start thinking about this whole process
Sure.
more efficiently?
Yeah. So let's talk about Partner for Equity. And really, by definition, it's the ability to go in and affect some sort of change, take on a role, create some sort of outcome in exchange for upside, right? Equity doesn't always have to mean actual real equity. Often that's not necessary, but some sort of upside. Beyond that, you want to get paid at the same time. So partnering for equity, consulting for equity is really a relationship where you get the partner title, you get the partner benefits, which is profit sharing, the ability to make money when the business exits, things like that, but also getting paid a retainer fee ongoing to really exchange your value to the business. So let's start with the one thing I start with most of the time is really establishing your deal maker identity and really understanding kind of what's that ideal win scenario. What am I looking for this partnering for equity relationship to do for me? And that's the beauty of this. It's so customizable, right? So if you have, let's say you're a W 2 and you are working for someone else, you've been in the same industry for 20 years, got a hell of a Rolodex, you're pretty highly recruited, and you just feel like you're not on path to be able to retire. You don't have the money in the bank that you're looking to have, and you feel like you need to accelerate that. And you're kind of past that time in your life where you're kind of risk adverse and you want to just work for somebody else and not take the risk, but now you're ready to. Well, Partner for Equity is a great strategy for you because if you have notoriety, you are highly recruited, you have a great skill set, you solve a big, legitimate, bleeding problem for a business, you can go and trade that same effectiveness rather than being an employee, but as a partner, right? And I think you got to understand first, what do you want this to do for you? Is this a leap from the W 2 to allow you to be a partner without having all the risk of starting a business from scratch or trying to buy one and getting that partner title, getting the benefits of a partner, and then also getting paid top dollar as you go along and getting performance pay? Well, that's a great vehicle for someone like I described, right? But it doesn't always have to be in that scenario. A lot of times I look at what have I already solved in the past? What do I already have the playbook for? What do I already have the SOPs for? All right. You got to think about what am I trading for equity? Sometimes it's your time. Sometimes it's jumping in from one job to a job where you have a partner title. Sometimes it's just light consulting once a week. Sometimes it's just a Rolodex or a connection that you have that unlocks growth or something new in a business, and they were willing to give you equity to get access to it, right? Give you a story. Pace Morby, number one real estate coach that I'm very aware of, he's been on stage with me several times. We've hosted events together. hosted 3 of them in 2023. And I taught him consulting for equity. I remember I was up, and speakers don't watch. I just want to make sure you understand this. When you're a speaker, you don't watch other speakers. He was glued to me, and he learned about consulting for equity. And the next event we did 4 months later, he got on stage and talked about a $2 million consulting for equity deal that he took. And all the guy wanted was his reach. All he wanted was that stamp of approval, and the business skyrocketed. And he got equity because of his fact that he's famous, right? So there's a lot of things you can trade for equity. You can trade time, you can trade consulting, you can trade the ability to predict success because you've already solved this problem 100 times and you can just plug it in. Maybe it's your team, maybe it's your human capital. What resources do you have? So just some things to think about. I have a lot of exercises I take people through in the book and in my courses called Equity Partner, where we help them take inventory, because a lot of people struggle with that. They're like, I don't know. I don't see how what I do translates into something that someone would actually want to give me equity for. So we take them through a taking inventory process. We take them through a memory jogger exercise to remember, who do I know who's a business owner who's already been looking for someone like me? We also do a big paradigm shift. And the paradigm shift is this: like, stop talking about what you do or your title. Instead, reposition what you do as the problems you solve. Because often we do things inside of industries and businesses that are parallel and bleeding problems in other types of businesses we never thought of. So I've got a whole process. It's kind of hard to teach in a 20 or 30-minute
Yeah.
podcast, but I encourage you to read the book. It's on Amazon. It's $9. It's a playbook. It's like a blueprint. It's not a novel. Super easy to read.
Yeah, I'm personally definitely going to order it. Um, I think again, this is a growing space, and you touched on something that's super interesting is being able to leverage your current resources and assets that you already have that most people already have. Connections could be like a skill set,
Yep.
anything, and you could leverage that to get specific positions. It doesn't even have to be equity in a company as leverage. I
Yeah.
know there's a term kind of floating around their influence. I think it's trading influence for equity or something. Like people have like followers and audiences, and they're like, hey, you know what? Could we get a position in that company
Yeah.
just from our distribution?
Sure. I mean, think about, I'll give you a like bridge, which is a fancy term in marketing for an analogy. Alex Hermosi has acquisition.com. He's not in the merger and acquisition coaching game. People think he is for some reason. He actually does this himself. He does consulting for equity. He does partnering for equity. He says to people, I'm giving away all my training for free. If you have a business that's over $3 million in revenue, up to $100 million in revenue, I want you to apply. And essentially, he will buy into your business, or he'll do consulting for equity, and he'll help plug in his systems, his CEO, his C suite completely, his marketing engine. And if he likes your business, he'll take you to the next level because he wants to have the paycheck, the second bite of the apple of the exit. Grant Cardone, there's another one. He will absolutely, you can give him equity in your company, and then he'll go and make these promises to you. One of our competitors, Roland Frazier, Chris Crone, and Ryan Dice, they have another system. And I haven't heard amazing things about any of the three. Alex Ramosi is the one I've heard really great things about. And I'm sure they all do a great job of what they do. But it's the same thing. It's just, hey, we already have the influence. We already have the marketing teams. We already have this. We can blow your business up. And some of them buy it from you. Some of them want you to give them free equity, right? And they have a kind of an ideal win scenario. I was like, if it's in this market, I'm not going to touch it. If it's in this market, it's a home run, right? It's just kind of figuring out, just like a buy box in business acquisition. But yeah, influence is helpful, but it's not a good fit for a lot of people. Really, what do business owners want at the end of the day? You got to stop and say, what does a business owner want? Well, they want more money, revenue. They want profit, better margins. They want to be able to break into new markets, whether that's an industry or a new demographic or a new product line. They want to get their time back. They want to relieve stress. They want to de-risk themselves. They want to take their business to exit. There's all these things that you can trade for equity, is your ability to help them get what they want and solve that bleeding problem. And so that's why like influence for equity is a very, very small part of it. That's only helpful for somebody who has a great product, real demand, solves a real problem. And the last thing they're missing is what? Eyeballs. So that helps that, but that's only one of every 30 companies, right? There's a lot of them that just need somebody who's been working in a manufacturing plant, who's Six Sigma and lean, and they can come in and completely transform all of their profitability in their company and get them to exit without bringing on one single customer. You got someone like myself who exited a medical marketing agency. I can grow any medical practice that's cash pay. And I've been offered equity in a lot of them. Think about 51,000 students. A lot of them are buying med spas. People offer me equity all the time because I have the playbook and the expertise and the track record of knowing how to grow that. And I've already trained people. You want me to teach you how I train people to give me equity?
Yeah, absolutely. Tactical would be amazing.
It's easy. You ready? It's the concept of pre-framing, right? And pre-framing, which is really piloted by Robert Cialdini, the author of Influence. He also authored a book called Persuasion. And pre-framing is simple this: what you say first changes the way how people experience what you say next. So what you say first changes the way people experience what you say next, right? So pre-framing in this context is pretty simple. I let people know when they pursue me and they say, "Hey, can we work together? Can I pick your brain? Wow, I'd love to talk to you about looking at this business, or can I hire you?" I say, "Hey, listen, I'm no longer for hire. I only work in businesses I own. I only market for businesses I own. I only consult for businesses I own. I only grow businesses I own. If you want to open up that conversation, talk potential partnerships, I'm definitely open to it. Otherwise, unfortunately, I've just got too much on my plate." It's so easy, but I've never had one person yet still try to hire me without giving me equity after being able to use that phrase. Obviously, it's got to be at the right time. If they're not pursuing you and you did cold outreach and you found this person, they don't know you from Adam, they're not going to offer you equity and they're not going to respond well to that. They're going to think you're an idiot, right? But the frameworks that I teach are much more magnetic. It's more about creating that authority, real authority, and having people know exactly that you have the ability to solve their problem where they're pursuing you. It's also about finding these business owners in the right environments. You got to find them where they're already open to collaboration. They're already in the mindset of looking for solutions. They've already hit some sort of brick wall or plateau where they know what they've tried before isn't working. They want to find a new approach. A lot of people are burned out on trying to hire people. A lot of people suck at hiring. They piss away a lot of money training people who aren't going to stick. And they're taking all the risk up front without having any reward. Finding somebody who has skin in the game, who's got that partnership mentality, the ownership mentality, it's incredible. Business owners are looking for this. Anybody who disagrees with that, that's okay. You can, but reality is it's out there. But it's a game of inches. You got to know what you're doing.
You nailed on multiple things I want to get into really quickly, but
Please.
before I get to that, I just wanted to ask you, I know a ton of people, including myself, where we do a lot of cold outreach. And it's not the exact, at least in my opinion, strongest way to build authority, right? Or to have that authority right up, the trust, right? You're kind of hitting people cold. They don't really know who you are. Then you have to build that trust over a call and a series of calls almost. Is there a better way that you found to be able to get these types of opportunities while you're looking for partnerships or this equity strategy?
Yep, definitely. Cold outreach is the worst. Number one.
Yeah.
It's a great strategy. And what I love about it is it's scalable. You can go as fast as you want and you can get really targeted as well, right? You're buying information from Zoom Info or Apollo and you're using all these AI things to add leverage. And it's a numbers game. Can it open opportunities? Can it open doors? Can you get your calendar full? 100%. At the end of the day, it's super simple. Are you talking to them about solving a problem they already woke up this morning wanting to solve? Most of the time, no, because you're disrupting them. It didn't start with active intent, it didn't start with them searching for a need or a want. Therefore, your closing ratio is going to be dog shit most of the time. With that being said, you can run as fast as you want. And if you have the right expectations of converting 0.5% of 100 calls, which is one of every 200, and you make enough money and it's worth the effort, it's a great strategy and people grow all the time. But at the end of the day, partnering for equity is better when it's more magnetic and they're already out there looking for a solution. So I like to go farm for partnering for equity opportunities at masterminds, at events, at meetups, referrals from people who are business coaches and consultants, referrals from marketing agencies, referrals from somebody who already has influence over my perfect prospect. So I break that down like really specifically inside my course and inside my book and kind of how to go after it that way. Not saying you can't do it through cold outreach because you can, depending on how you structure the deal. Because you could take the concept of partnering out of it, but instead value for upside. Could you go out to cold traffic and cold scalable outreach like you're talking about and get people to hire you as for a service, but also pay you performance and then have the ability to earn your way into real equity later? Sure, absolutely. But you got to understand it's all about risk tolerance. And it's also real risk or actual risk versus perceived risk, right? You know the difference? Most people understand it, but maybe can't articulate it. So I'll do it for you. Real actual risk is like, I'm about to jump across this canyon and I probably am not going to make it. I'm going to die. I'm going to walk into a cave where I know there's bears that are not hibernating, they're awake. That's actual risk. Perceived risk is how you see something based on your perspective, right? So when you go to somebody and you and I are talking for 2 or 3 times and I'm like, wow, I like this guy, seems sharp. I actually don't know you very well. I haven't done a full due diligence. You're not coming from a know, like, and trust transfer like a referral. I'm going to be thinking that anything I do with you is risky. And I have to decide in negotiations, which is negotiation 101, how much risk am I willing to take on? Of course, I'm happy to give you my business, half of it, if you give me a 10x return, but I want you to do it first. Compared to somebody says, I only work for equity. I need you to give me 50% now. I'm not even going to start work. Well, why would they ever do that for you? Even 10%. Why would they ever do that for you? Because it's way too risky the way they're perceiving it. Compared to if they found you, they've been listening to your podcast, you have real gained authority. You're referred to them by someone they know, like, and trust. They see your track record. You're published. You got great positioning, got great proximity. You're the person they've been searching for, and you have a relationship. And they're like, what has to be true for us to work together? It's golden. That's easy. It's like taking candy from a baby with integrity, right? So it's just the nature of consulting for equity in general is just not made for that type of offer, like that type of outreach, right? Hope that makes sense. That doesn't mean you can't do it, but I would do more of a Trojan horse method where I was solving a legitimate problem for them more as an agency or as a service. And then I would try to convert that relationship later into partner for equity. But it just depends on what you're doing. I mean, depends on how you define success. Do you want to do one thing and do it 100 times for 100 different people? It's rinse and repeat. And then build an agency and then take the ones you love after a year and try to convert them into equity. If you want to just do one deal, you want it to pay 25 grand a month, what you're talking about is not going to work very well at all.
I love that. And I'm always talking about referrals just because I learned over time. I mean, after just sending direct mail, text, cold calls for real estate for like 10 years, there's no compounding effect of just keep doing this, opposed to building a brand, building that network out, and getting those referrals that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It would almost be better to just do that. And yeah, you're getting potentially less leads, but they're converting at a way higher percentage
Yep.
and you're not even trying, right?
I teach something called the 7 ways to win. It's a business development game plan system that I've taught a lot of really large companies, and I've taught thousands upon thousands of students. And it's the concept of building a very redundant client or customer acquisition strategy. It's applicable to every business, period. And you really have two sides of that. You got scalable and non-scalable. Non-scalable are things that you can't directly control. You can't directly control how many referrals you get. You can't. But you can do the activities that lead to referrals, knowing that the expectations of the quality of the lead and the conversion rate's very, very high with that know, like, and trust transfer, versus the scalable is going to have really, really low conversion rates, but you can do enough activity and automate a lot of it where you can start to fill in and have 2 or 3 sales or 2 or 3 new clients or contracts from every single one of the customer acquisition strategies. And that builds a very strong, recession proof, market shift proof business, right?
Mm.
So on the referral side, a lot of activity you can do to generate referrals, a lot of networking, a lot of asking for referrals. But the biggest one for me is just becoming referral worthy. Most people are not referral worthy. They're also not reciprocating. They're also not looking to create a relationship and solve a problem for someone and let that be the beginning of a relationship. They're not out there teaching people how to refer, not teaching people when to refer. And that's one of the biggest issues. So, like in business development, when I teach it, we start with 2 concepts. One is called what triggers a transaction? Who's most likely to refer? What's the moment in time when someone decides, I need this? Well, you need to figure out how to get right there in that moment and be between them and their searches. The other side of it is who's most likely to refer? Who already has authority over my perfect prospect or perfect customer or perfect business owner? Who are they looking to for advice? What are they reading? What groups are they a part of? What person is already a liaison that I can create a relationship with to be that conduit to get my foot in the door, right? So it's just business development 101, but referrals, like you said, they're the holy grail for sure. You just can't directly influence how many you get, but you can control 3 things in life. One of them is your activity. Number 2 is your attitude. Number 3 is your effort level. Like, so you can go out and put the right activity and the right effort into it.
And just kind of almost more focus your time on, they even say stuff like this in dating, I guess, but become more of a high value person and
Yep.
people are going to come to you more naturally.
One of my
You,
favorite books is Become a Key Person of Influence, Becoming a Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley. It's literally on this exact subject, and it's powerful. So I'd encourage any of the listeners here to read that.
I love Daniel. He breaks stuff down so articulately. One thing, and this is just really quick, and I actually want to touch about AI.
Please.
You mentioned about you just did a case scenario of W-2 workers, and this kind of leads into AI. I am predicting, and a lot of people are predicting, that there is going to be some degree, or probably a lot, of job loss, or maybe there's could be an economy crash, and they're just not going to hire back. So I talk to a lot of W-2 workers, and some of the things that I actually tell them is like, hey, you have a unique skill set. Maybe they're in construction, like they're in insulation or roofing or something like that. Why not use your skill set to go partner with a smaller business owner and potentially figure out a way to grow their company and get a position as a partner in their business if something bad happens, and maybe start learning how to do that prematurely? Do you think that could be a good strategy for them? Or, and if so, is there a quick little tip you can give them?
I think it's a good strategy. Just to go back to AI disruption, yeah, 30 to 40 million jobs will be lost, 100%. We're waiting for AI and robotics to mix together, and then even the low blue collar jobs will start going
Yeah.
away. But right now, white collar, professional services, data analysis, anybody doing some level of desktop publishing, text, artists, graphic designers, people who are doing software development. Like, yeah, it's not coming; it's already happening. It's just stealing jobs every day, making entire industries obsolete. So I don't know if I would say go and try to partner with other people, because until you have this playbook, first of all, you're not going to do that very well at all.
Yeah.
And you're going to make the wrong deal. You're not protecting yourself, and you're going to get screwed, because I'm telling you, it's not a novice's game. It's like, let me ask you a question. Do you think getting a profit share is a great deal? It's a terrible deal. You don't control profit. Like, that's a sucker's game, right? So most people are going to get taken advantage of quickly and build nothing, right? So you don't do partner for equity unless you learn partner for equity correctly. That being said, why don't we go and figure out when AI comes in and disrupts us, which it's going to? It's the age of AI is here. I just taught this on stage at our big convention, and I talked about the 4 different roles you can play. It's your choice. You can be replaced by AI. You can learn to leverage AI and become somebody who is the new employee. You can own a business and then try to leverage AI to grow that business. Number 4, you can be a portfolio investor who is building up to large exits and kind of building towards that roll up model. And really, you can choose what you want to do. People who are replaced by AI, it's because they're not paying attention and they're not going out and learning the new skill sets to still stay gainfully employed. I would be doing more research on what are the skill sets that are going to be in massive demand from humans over the next 10 years in this age of AI. And I would be out there building redundancy in my own skill sets and learning the things that are going to be in high demand, if that's what you want to do. That covers number 1 and number 2, people who are getting replaced and people who want to get the new jobs in the AI world. If someone wants to be in business ownership, you need to go out and figure out what businesses are not going to get replaced completely and made obsolete by AI, because there's a lot of them that have been, a lot. So go study that and study the trending and what's the CAGR, the compounding annual growth rate projections for certain industries, and try to have businesses that you own or have equity in those specific industries, not the ones that are going to be the next blockbuster, right? And then lastly, if you want to learn a life-changing skill set where you can write your own paycheck for life, learn how to do M&A, learn the art and science of business acquisitions. To me, that's the only advice that I could give somebody. And one more thing, if you wake up in the morning like, wow, I'm going to go solve this problem with AI, first of all, good luck. You'll be out of business in a couple of years. Only 1 in a million is going to work, because a lot of people start thinking they're going to go solve a major problem that they believe exists, not what everyone else cares about. So just be careful getting that novelty of getting into shiny object syndrome. Like, if you're on a great path, figure out how to stay on the great path and figure out how to build redundancy, but don't just think you're going to quit your job, become a vibe coder and solve a massive problem and make trillions of dollars because you saw a lovable ad. No, most likely not. Most likely not. People who are good at sales and marketing, yes. But most people who build tools never get seen. Best known always beats best 100% of the time. So like me, I'm launching Pocket Marketer on Monday. We're going to absolutely crush it. I have audience. I have authority. I know how to sell and market. I'm a very, very well accomplished digital marketer. I've got massive awards, Inc. 5000s, ClickFunnels, 2 comma X's. Like, this is what I do. If I didn't have those skill sets, I have no business trying to do that. So just some thoughts. Just my soapbox.
Could somebody just build a product and partner with somebody like you?
Sure.
Or
Yeah.
because
100%.
instead of growing the distribution, which could take
Yes.
years.
100%. One of my
Love
buddies, Mark, really smart guy, real big name and partner for equity.
Yep.
He talks about other people's genius. That's Mark's, and he thinks about, when it's not something I have, why don't we go to the we? So yeah, you can have a great product, but still, most of the time, people don't take the time to determine, is there a real demand for this? Is there a real need for this? They don't go and talk to 100 people and tell their narrative and see their reactions, and they don't go through product research. They just build because they woke up an itch to do it. But yeah,
Mhm.
100%.
Love it. Well, Chris, I appreciate all of your time. I know we're kind of approaching the end right here, and I know you got to go. But thank you so much for hopping on and all the insight that you shared. And I just want to point people to the right direction for
Sure.
you. And would it be to go down, actually order your book, or is there another place that you want?
Yeah, a couple ways. It kind of depends on which Chris you want to get in touch with. Right. If you want to learn about M&A and you want to learn about Partner for Equity, like we talked about, go to Amazon, type in Partner for Equity Playbook, buy my book, read it. It's $9. It's a great education. Some next steps in the book if you're interested. If not, no big deal. Number two, if you want to learn about how to buy cash flowing businesses from my partner, Carl Allen, the number one in the world at this exact thing, go to dealmakerwealthsociety.com. We've got some free training on there, dealmakerwealthsociety.com. And then number three, you want to learn more from me on marketing strategy and see a lot of the stuff. I speak on stage at least 10 to 15 times per year. I MC conferences. I speak on conferences. A lot of my on stage stuff is on my YouTube, which is called Chris Moore Speaks. So it's YouTube, type in Chris Moore Speaks. You'll probably see I've got about 10,000 or so subscribers at the moment. It's growing rapidly. But yeah, I've got a lot of good stuff on there as well. But yeah, that's it. And then
Perfect. And we'll
Pocket Marketer, if you guys want a world-class marketer like me in your pocket, pocketmarketer.ai, pocketmarketer.ai. That's what I would encourage. And it's relevant to every one of you listening.
love it. Love it.
Yeah.
So we'll put all of these links in the description. And again, thank you, Chris, for coming on and showing all the insights. I got a lot of value out of this, and I know the audience will as well. So
Yep.
thanks again.
Yeah. Happy to do it. Invite me back one day and I'll say yes.
Let's do it. All right.
Cool, man. Thanks.
Bye.